This video is a brief introduction of several things to do with games in a phonics classroom. First of all, why do we have games in a phonics classroom? Then we will look at different types of games, and hopefully it will be a brief introduction to the topic. So first off, that major question, why do we have games in a phonics classroom? What's the point? Surely if we've got a phonics book, got some storybooks, we'd be better spending 100% of our time using those. Well, the simple answer is people learning phonics are usually very young kids, and they don't do well when it comes to sitting still for an hour. So you need to find ways to keep them engaged. The best way to keep young kids engaged is to alter the interaction patterns. So if we have them down and looking at a table for 10 minutes and then we switch the interaction and then do something active and physical for a little while, then switch back down to working on the table, this allows us to maintain their concentration, their focus, retain control of the classroom, all of that good stuff. So if we have this good balance between what we call down activities and up activities, we're maximizing the chance we have to improve and develop our students' literacy. That then comes on to the next question. Well, surely then, if that's the principle, why don't we just work for a little bit of the time down on the books and then play for a little while, and down and then have free time and play? Well, just because we're up and being active, it doesn't mean it can't be productive time. Well, play's productive too, but if we can control the kind of games and activities that we do in those up sections of the lesson, we're able to maximize the chances of our students learning and picking up on what we want them to. So in a up activity, what we'll be trying to do is to replicate what the down activities will do. They will still have a target, they'll still have something that we're trying to teach through them. It just won't look like a paper exercise, it will be a physical exercise. That's the point. So when we talk about up activities, this is what we mean. So that then leads me on to, well, what kinds of up activity do we have? Well, I'm going to do a brief video on several broad types of up activity. So I'll give you a quick overview of them now. The first one we'll look at is warmers and activities to do at the beginning of the lesson. So these are up activities you'll do at the very start. One of the main reasons is you get everybody in and get everybody on the same page. It's really important, especially with younger learners, to make sure that you have everybody in a good place, for lack of a better word. So that's a very important role for warmers. Also, if you have new students coming into your class, you need to make sure that they're comfortable and they're happy to be there, otherwise they're not going to get any benefit. So this is one aspect of warmers. It performs a very important social function in a young learner classroom. The other function is review. For various reasons, we need to review probably much more than with any other kind of learner with very young kids, for reasons that maybe it's not worth getting into here, but review is really, really important. And so it's just as it's good to get them on the same page emotionally and in the same mood, it's also important to make sure that everybody's on the same page in terms of review. So that's warmer games and activities. We'll talk about those. We'll also talk about what we could call matching games. So these are games where we're trying to cement a link between two concepts. So maybe we're linking a letter and a sound, very common, or maybe we're linking a word which carries that letter or sound. So for example, we might be linking letter A with a, or we might be linking either a or a with apple or ant at this very basic level. And there's lots of little games that you can do, lots of different variations on this principle of matching and reinforcing connections. We'll also talk about sorting or finding games. These are similar to matching games, but here we're not trying to link two concepts, we're trying to sort between several different associations. So whereas the matching games are good for creating new links, sorting or finding games, they're going to be good for reinforcing links and differentiation, making sure that the differences between concepts are clear. So it's another very important thing that they need to learn at this level. Probably most important, the next set would be blending games. Blending, putting letters together is the essence of what phonics is. So if we're teaching this, we need to cover this an awful lot. There's lots of different ways that we can do this, and games and physical interactions are generally more effective than focusing down on bits of paper, things like this. So blending games, there's lots of variety in there. And finally, we'll look at games that don't really fit into those categories. There's lots of other very, very useful activities that you can do in a phonics or young learner classroom that will be beneficial to your learners, and so we'll have a final video looking at those. So hopefully by the end of this short series there should be more than enough for a teacher to go into a phonics classroom and produce a good lesson and make the most of those up activity times to help their learners learn to read that bit faster.